Hello and welcome to Art, Creativity, and Wellbeing. This is the show where we are always working to support you in loving yourself, caring for yourself, feeding yourself nourishment just as much as you do for others. And um, it's such a fun place to be when we can do this. I am Kay Lockcolp. I'm a coach, I'm a creator, and I am a thru hiker who used to need a wheelchair. And today is part three of our Cultivating a Positive Money Mindset series. So directly related, the money mindset that we have, to what we allow ourselves to do, how we allow ourselves to spend our time, what direction we feel like, how aligned we are to the direction we would like to be going in. And that's really what I'm aiming to do in this series is support you in doing this. If you're not where you wish to be with this idea, I spent 2025 really opening up to the most positive money mindset I've ever had. And the results were amazing. And what was really fun about that was not only were the results amazing for me, but it has meant that the level of service that I can offer, the ways that I can be supportive of others, have also the doors have been blown off that as well, which is really there's some humility here and some just really amazing good feelings of alignment and gratitude. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're along for the ride. Today, I've decided that we will do this in four parts. So this is part three. The questions in parts one and two were in order. We'll see how if I need to consult my notes or if I can remember this. Um, Understand question one. Where are you in terms of having a money mindset that is positive? Do you feel like you are able to do the things that you would like to do? How do you spend your time? Is it spent in enjoyment or is it spent, in a mix of enjoyment and stuff that you just clamp your jaw down and get done? Um, or is it all clamping your jaw down and ending up, visiting the doctor because of your ulcer or lack of sleep or things like that? And sometimes boy, I don't even really love the way that those questions got asked because we can have health problems, right? Like I live with migraine. I've had times in my life where I wasn't able to sleep. In fact, I just at the beginning of this year, the between December and January, I I had a period of time where I was having nightmares, which I basically never have. I was just really struggling, and the ability to sit with that and find a doctor or I don't know, open up to the idea that there's something better for us. I think in the most gentle way that I can frame it, our ability to kind of advocate for ourselves, especially when we're not feeling well, really comes back to our own feelings of empowerment. And a lot of times, our own feelings of empowerment are directly aligned with our money mindset. So, So that's question one. Where are you? Like what's your money mindset right now? Is it more positive, more negative, somewhere in the middle? Just to get good to get an understanding, right? Question two is perhaps I'll look at my notes. Question number two is what do you see money as? That's right. So that was a couple weeks ago now that this question was asked. What do you see money as? Is it an energy? Is it a problem? Is it anything else, right? Like, what do you see money as? That's question two. And going back and watching or listening to the previous episodes might give you a little bit more enlightenment if these questions feel like, huh, to you. But those are the first two. And then the third one is, what is your direction? What would you like your days to be filled with? How would you like to spend your time, basically? And then today, the question that we are bringing is, um, what are you really good at and enjoy doing? What are you really good at and enjoy doing? There's a certain demographic that I uh, hesitate to use the following word with, but another way to define something that you really love doing and are really good at is a superpower. So, however you de however you define that, like I I mean, I think the idea of superpowers are very fun. I think all humans have superpowers. We all have superpowers. Probably about a month ago, as I'm recording in real time, I'm recording this in early January. Probably about a month ago, I had the opportunity to go to Rockland, Maine, which is about an hour from where I live. And there was a really cool, I forget what this kind of path is called, but it's like a path right along the water. It might be called a breakwater, something like that. No, the breakwater there's a lighthouse at the end of the Rockland breakwater. So I didn't walk that, although I can't wait to. But this was like a winding path that sort of went around the harbor, right on the edge of the harbor. And there was a moment on the path where I was standing, there's a place where you can like walk up onto where like boats get moored. And right at the beginning to it, it was a cement walkway. I looked down and there was about maybe a 1 square foot square that had been spray painted onto the cement. And what it said was, stand here to activate your superpowers. And I just thought, wow. And of course I did. And I felt my superpowers activate. It was so fun. So yeah, that's the question today. Today's question is, what are your superpowers? What are you really good at and enjoy doing? Because I think an important factor of superpowers is the enjoyment of it. Like we can be really good at something but not enjoy it. I think maybe certainly I have, and maybe you have also had the sort of awful thing happen where you suddenly find yourself, whether it's part of your education or part of your work, where because you're good at something, you're now assigned to do it, or it's assumed that you are going to do this, even though you don't really like it, right? And today we're getting an understanding of what do you really, really love to do, and at the same time, you're really, really good at. I think this is such a fun question because there's an endless variety of responses. I personally feel like there's three things that come up for me when I think about this. And those are my superpowers, right? I see them as um, I'm really good at and enjoy being present in this moment, which I also think of as holding space. I am really good at and enjoy supporting others by feeling well myself. And a big part of that is minding my own business and allowing other people to mind theirs. And then I think the third superpower that I see for myself is one of being so attuned to and loving exploration and discovery. I used to be very anxious all the time. I wish somebody said one time, and I really love this, that anxiety isn't something that kind of just goes away. What happens is, this is how I've come to see it, is we can get better at understanding if our mind is feeling anxious right now. And if it is, then we can take steps, we can do things to support, right? And so the anxieties that I have used to really show up when I was trying to control everything, when I was very worried about others, and just so not taking care of my own self to try and take care of them, that produced a lot of anxiety. And had teenagers backing out the door away from me because they didn't want to engage with that energy at all. I didn't either, but I it took me some learning to figure out how to stop and instead to to be in a mindset of exploration and discovery. And I think a really recent example of this, I spent moving to Maine. We moved in September, and we had May apparently this December for Maine has been the coldest, the snowiest on record for decades. Like we've just had a really sharp introduction to winter here, and I love winter, right? And at the same time, I was I was remembering or sort of hearkening back to the times where I would be driving up to when I was a child, we would go from Massachusetts, where I lived growing up, to Montreal, where we had moved from. It was about 8 hours away, through New Hampshire, through Vermont, and even into Quebec. It's not right on the border, right? So I think it was about an 8 hour trip. And if we made that trip 10 times, more than a third of them, we ended up in a ditch, right? We would slide off the road. We would end up in a ditch. We would need to be pulled out of the ditch. Seemed like it was always in the middle of the night. It was nuts. It was absolutely crazy. And moving here, folks, before winter, like when we would be meeting people, so many people said, like multiple people said, you know what? I may not like you, but if you go off into a ditch, I'm going to help you out. And I know you're going to help me out too. Like there's a there's a way of being here that sets aside any arguments and understands the people here understand kindness and um, that we all deserve safety and love, right? So I just love that. I just love that. And even with that, I did not understand what it would mean when real winter started to hit, and I was suddenly like reliving the trauma of being a 5-year-old kid who's just woken up with the car in a ditch. And now you're like on the highway in Vermont and have to figure out without cell phones, because this was in the 80s or 70s, especially the 70s when I was 5. Um, how do you fix it? What do you do, right? And even though I'm far better resourced and I'm not a child anymore and I have lots of experience driving in the winters, it had been a while since I'd really had to reckon with this. And now our circumstances, we live at the end of a mile-long dirt road, which I love. And at the same time, I really had to sit with it. So sitting with things and being present to them, what that's done for me is it's a lot kind of my brain doesn't engage with that anymore or cycle through it. I sort of can observe those thoughts and go, oh wow, there's the little tiny little girl part of me that is so afraid, and that's okay. And that way I know that I'm making decisions not from a panicked place, but from a place of calm. And I know that I can see myself through things, right? Uh, that's not a superpower that I came into the world with. So, so if you didn't either, know that there's help, or there's at least that is something that can be achieved. And if you want help, let me know. Write to me. I'm happy to support on something like that. I think someone who's been on this journey and understands it is often a really good support for someone who's going through it and would like some support. So klockculp.com/contact. Those are my superpowers. Um, I am so curious what yours are, what you really love doing and do well. And I'm saying it again, right? I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear about that. Write to me. Let me know. But the most important person who gets to know this is you. So maybe jot something down, take a note, and be able to look back on it. I think a few episodes ago I shared about when I was a quilter, when I first started quilting, which was in the year about 2000. Um, I was advised, I don't think I ever finished what I said. So here I am 2 episodes later closing this loop. I was advised to write the dates, to like have a notebook or a file where I kept track of like a picture, dimensions, and a date. What were the dates that I made this quilt? And it's so interesting. I've always sort of kept with that. Anytime that I've taken notes for myself or kept notes with clients, for example, to go back and look at those dates and when was this happening, and to be able to see evolution over time is really cool. So you may have a not as positive as you would like money mindset in January or early 2026. And then, a year later, you may come back and revisit it and go, "Oh, wow, like this has changed so much in just a year." That's really kind of fun to be able to do. So, um, yeah, so keep a note for yourself and let me know if you'd like to. The next episode that will be up not next week, but the week after, um, will be the conclusion of our series on cultivating a positive money mindset. And I'm excited to kind of bring these ideas together and then have a couple of steps that not so much questions next week, but steps that have been really helpful for me and that I see being really helpful for others. So hopefully that all lands, and we'll see you in a couple weeks for that. Next week, I've got something else coming up. My intention is to share about I will hold this up for those of you watching in video. It is a booklet that I made, a little game that I made up earlier in the year called Days of Creation 2026. And what I did was I had the idea to proactively build the coming year over 12 days in January. And so January 1st in this book that I wrote down some information about January, the month of January, on January 1st. And then on the 2nd of January, I wrote down information about the month of February, or thoughts, things that were going on the 2nd of January that would then correspond to February. So next month, we'll be looking at that. Um, and the 3rd of January is March, and the 4th of January is April, et cetera, et cetera. And so next week, I'm going to be sharing what is in this book, which I haven't looked back at all for January the 1st. What is in this book that corresponds to the month of January, to January 2026 as a whole? And I kind of can't wait to see. I'm pretty excited. I will share the post where I give you, I wanted to give this game out for free. It's like a free resource. So there's a post which has everything that you need to sort of download. You don't even have to. A lot of times people will say, give me your email to get the thing. I don't even do that. I just want you to have the thing. If you'd like to sign up for this podcast in newsletter format, that's where also presents like that get given, so or get received. So the link is in the show notes to do that if you'd like to as well, to sign up for the newsletter version of the show and to sign up for the post where you can just download and print the game book, and the sort of the way to play is also described in that one. So um yeah, here we are at the end of another episode. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this is helpful for you. Please let me know if you've got questions, or if anything's coming up for you as we move through these weeks of cultivating a positive money mindset. I'd love to hear. And I'm wishing you very well today. Thank you for being along on this journey with me. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.